Okay, I'm going to download some Zipcode shapefiles, and I'm going to take you to this site that I really like. It's called Qgis, and these guys are over at the population kind of center in Minnesota, and they do amazing work. They curate tons of data, all kind of jurisdictional boundaries. Usually, it's the National Historical Geographic Information System out of the Minnesota Population Center. And they do a lot of work with kind of census data going back right to as early as the census was taken, and even before that they do a lot of county level analysis. But they have a lot of jurisdictional types of data that's not just census tracts or blocks or counties. They also have zip code tabulation areas. So the best way to go about it is to kind of go to the select data option here at nhgis.org, and you get this kind of this GUI here where it says, okay, well, we don't know you haven't told us anything about what you're trying to find. So the first thing I'm going to go do is to geographic levels and say that I'm looking for zip codes. So I click geographic levels, and I get these options up here. If you want to explore, you totally should, but all I'm saying right now is that I want to see modern, so 2000 to the present 5-digit zip code tabulation area, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to say yes to that, say submit, and you might see that there are all these tables, right? If you really are interested in looking at demographics, through time or anything like that, there's a lot you can do. And if you want to kind of winnow this down into something more manageable, you can use, select by year or topics, and you just kind of click the check marks that you want. But I don't really want any of this information. The information that I have already, the parcel data, is what I'm interested in. I'm just using zip codes to help refine my study area. So I really just want the boundary files, which are the actual shape files, the shapes on the earth. These source tables we might consider, these are all just thousands of attribute tables that you can join to the boundary file. So I'm just going to download a boundary file, and I might as well take the most recent one right here, 2013 zip code tabulation. Yep. And it comes from this Tiger, which you might see this pretty often. This is a series of shapefiles made, kind of contracted, I think, by the government. It's a U.S. Census product. So very useful, but for our purposes, we're using the NHGIS kind of interpretation of that. So click OK. That's what I want, and it says in my data cart, just like we're on Amazon or something like that, it says you have one GIS boundary file in your cart. And for our purposes, that's all we want right now. We may come back to this site in the future. And it says OK. There you go. And unfortunately, at this level, at the zip code level, we have to download the entire country. If we were to do it by block or census tract, we could select the state that we want to download, but for zip code, they haven't parsed that out by state. We have to download the whole thing, and it is 600 megabytes or so. So have a good internet connection when you get ready to do this. Okay, and it says submit, review and submit. This is how a lot of these sites work now, is that they want you to actually supply some information about who you are. Nothing too dramatic. You can just use your Gmail or some account that you make. The point is they're happy to give you free information, but it's important that if you can, you should cite obviously NHGIS as being the kind of the generator of the data that you're using. And in my case, I just say that Ben at Rumline Maps. And if you haven't done this yet, you can just create an account and say you're doing education or whatever industry you're in. It's pretty easy. You'll have to just create an account. It'll only take a few minutes to do, but go ahead and do that. And it says to create a new account, just enter your email address with no password. But I've already done one, so I'm going to go ahead and just submit like that. And when you can see I've I've been to this site quite a bit for different research and stuff. And this is, I've already done this. This is when I was practicing for this video. I'd already kind of tried this out one time. So it'll tell you that your status is queued, meaning they're preparing your request of the zip code shapefile that you want to download. And then you can either just wait and keep hitting refresh and it will say when it's ready. Yeah, say it's in progress, it's almost ready. Or you can just wait and they'll send you an email when it actually is finally done. So when they send you an email, you can kind of click through and then you'll get a link that looks like this on this page, and download GIS data. You can just click this link and it will start the download process. And again, 630 megabytes, you know, maybe start it and go get a cup of tea and come back. But we have to download the whole country. So okay, and this actually comes kind of double compressed, because sometimes if you have more than one request, we just downloaded one file, but if we had downloaded 4 or 5 files, they send it all as one giant zipped thing a lot of the time, and then you open up your decompressed version and there's more compressed versions inside of each. You know, there'd be a different compressed file for each file that you wanted to download, but we just did one file, so we get this kind of weird compressed. It looks like it's double compressed, so no worries, just do it again. And I'm actually going to select this shapefile and just kind of cut it and bring it right to my base level folder here, and then just delete these folders because I don't need them. Okay, let's look at it in QGIS. Okay, here's the whole country, including, it looks like Hawaii and probably Alaska will pop in there too. I'm actually going to just zoom into the Northeast because I know that's what I'm looking at. And you'll notice that this projection for the whole country works well for the whole country, but when I zoom into just Massachusetts, it'll look like it's up on its side. And I'm actually going to just take a sub-selection of this zip code file because I don't need the whole country and I don't want the computer to get bogged down. So I'm going to go near Boston here. I'm going to use, I think I'll just use the radius tool because that's kind of cool. And I'll start where I know Boston to be, click and drag out, and I'll just grab all of these ones like that. And that's Greater Boston. I'm just making a sub-selection. I'm going to call this zip Boston. Save only selected features. Okay. Remove the big file I don't need. Okay. And you might notice that we are in a projection, but I want to be in the projection that my parcels like. So I'm going to make a new file up here so that it kind of wipes the slate clean. And then I bring in my parcels. And then I bring in my zip Boston. And I get to see this kind of interesting overlay going on. I bet you this is a park right here. And if we bring in our Open Layers plugin, I'm going to bring in the Google the Google Satellite layer. Yeah. If I turn it on and off, I can see that that's exactly what it is. It's a park. So we're starting to get more interesting. There's one more layer I want to download, and that is a neighborhoods file, because now that I can query these, you know, I can take a look at these zip codes. That's pretty great, but I kind of want human names to these areas because I'm not as familiar with Boston. I'd like kind of names so that I can see, oh yeah, this is the North End, or this is the downtown district, or things like that. So I want you to go back to your browser, and I'm going to type in Boston neighborhood shapefile. And one of the first things that pops up is, again, this city of Boston .gov kind of thing. Here we've got Boston neighborhood shapefile. That looks very promising. So I go here, and it says these boundaries were created based on zip code, zoning district boundaries, and census tract boundaries. So it's kind of it's an amalgamation of different jurisdictional boundaries. But I'm excited. I think it's probably going to be good. It's sponsored by the city of Boston, so let's just see what happens. Here it is right here, Boston neighborhoods new zip. That one's very small, so go ahead and extract that and bring that in as well. There we go. These look a little bit more kind of easy to interpret. So let's see what they say. Yep, downtown, Beacon Hill, West End, North End, Back Bay, South End, South Boston waterfront. We get a little bit better of a kind of an more human understanding of the regions. So in the next video, I'm going to take these regions to decide which zip codes we want to limit our study area to, and then do a join so that we get our parcel data is connected to our attribute table. And so, here we go.